Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So if you're here because you're stressed out about taking your driving theory test, let me tell you, you're not alone. I actually went through the same stress, and sadly I failed the first time, but through adequate preparation I can confidently say I passed on my second attempt. And on this video I'm going to be sharing the tips, the tricks, the videos, the apps, the mindsets that I used in achieving this, that I used in passing this test the second time. So stay tuned and enjoy. So when I decided that I needed to start driving, because in this country you just can't pick up a car and start driving, it's illegal, you get, so you have to go through the books. So when I decided that okay, I have to start driving in this country, I had to like contact some friends who said, okay, first and foremost, you have to pass the theory test, and just download this app and practice all 700 and something questions, and of course you would pass it. So I followed that instruction and I started doing that. I crammed the question, I crammed the answers, I crammed, I kept cramming. And when I started taking the mock test, I was failing woefully at first. Then later I started getting 49 over 50, 50 over 50, and I felt I'm ready for this test. So on that, I enrolled for the test, and on that fateful day I went to the hall, and after registering, they documented my ID, they took my provisional license, they documented my informations and all of that. They took me to a small corner where I'll write my test, a secure place. I did, and I was so confident that I've arrived, I'm passing this test. And when I finished, I was even smiling, like, you if I remember that, I'll be so embarrassed for myself. Like, I felt so happy and proud, like, I've made it. So I sat there, I was waiting for my test. That was how they gave me my results. So as I opened it, we are sorry to announce that you have failed this test. I mean, there's how they wrote it. They wrote it some month. I felt down. So for this test, I scored 42 over 50, and the cutoff mark was supposed to be 43 over 50. So if I had only gotten 1 mark extra, I would have passed, but I did not. So at the end of the day, I ended up filling 8 questions in that multi-choice section. Then for the hazard perception, I passed. Yes, I had 67 over something, over 77, also I'll be 75. So I passed that aspect. But the way this test works, if you fail one aspect, you have failed. You have to rewrite everything. So you can't fail one and leave you can't pass one and fail the other one. You have to pass both. So I failed that test that day. I was devastated and sad. And normally after writing the test, and if you fail the test rather, you can only rewrite after 3 days. So I tried booking on the 3rd day after writing my test, but I was not getting any close date. So the date I got was for like a month later. So I just did it either way. I was so angry, I forgot that I even enrolled for one exam. I forgot, so I just started enjoying myself. Only for 1 week to the exam, so I now realized that, oh my god, I have exam to practice for. What do I do? So I was already tensed. So one of my friends said she passed using one particular lady on TikTok, and a Winterborn. So another said that she download the 4-in-1 app theory. I did all of that. I downloaded the app, I paid for it. It's about £4.99, so that's like £5. Then I also connected with Annie Winterborn on TikTok. I just watched her basic videos, the videos she was uploading on TikTok. That was what I used, and she gave me the foundation, because she's a good tutor. So she gave me the foundation I used in actually understanding what I was reading on the 4-in-1 theory app. You get, so she explains things, she takes her time. Like, if you really need to pass your test, I can assure you that if you use just Annie Winterborn alone, I can assure you that you will pass your test. I'm not joking, I kid you not. You get, so I used her, and somehow I started understanding. I was not cramming anymore. I started reading to understand, because I realized that what failed me in my first test was when you just see a question, they will just twist it a little, and the thing will just destabilize you, because that was not how you crammed it in your book. The point is that they will just twist the question just a little, and you've read it, but you don't even know what the answer is, because you are confused, because the question has come in another form. So that's what happened when you cram rather than reading to understand. So that was what failed me. I can still remember all the questions that really failed me, because I was struggling understanding what they were talking about. You get, so this time around I decided to read read to understand, because really it's not really about passing the test, right? You come across all of these things on the road, that you are doing this test for a reason, right? You are going to come across all of these things on the road. So what if you can't really tell what they are? Like, what if you see a sign, a signage, and you don't know the meaning? You get? So aside the cramming, these are things you are supposed to know if you want to drive in UK. You get? These are the things you should know. You get? It should be part of you. So I started reading to understand better. I followed Annie Winterborn on this thing on TikTok, and the way she teaches, right? She makes you learn a lot in just a few seconds. For instance, you can just ask a question. Let me give a sample question. Like, when you want to tow a caravan, what are the safety measures you should put in place? Then you see options like coupling device, stabilizer, tow bar. You know, you just see some options like that. Then she will not just give you the answer or tell you to guess the answers. She would explain each and every one of them. So she would say, okay, when is a coupling device used? She will explain that. She will explain when a stabilizer is to be used. She will explain each and every one of them. So while she's even explaining it, you would get your answer. You know, okay, this is the answer, because this question is talking about safety measures. So from what she has explained, this is the answer. So before she even gives her answer, you yourself, you've already gotten it. And some, at the end of the day, you've ended up learning about when each and every one of them should be used. So when you come across a question like, when should this be used? You realize that, oh, Annie said, you should use a coupling device when this, you just remember all of those things. So she made learning way easier for me. So whenever I study with her on TikTok, by the time I go to my app and my 4-in-1 app and start with, everything now seems easy. You get? So don't forget, like I said, 1 week before the exam, that was when I took all of these things serious. So I started reading. I did not even bother taking any mock tests. I took mock tests a day before the exam. That was when I started taking the mock test. You get? So for these 6 days, I was just reading to understand, like, you get? So it was really what helped me. Then I discovered a guy on YouTube, Dorian, from Driving Theory UK or something. I'll put the link. Yes, he also helped. He was also a good tutor like Annie. So I used him as well, and I can confidently say that I passed my test. So for my multi-choice part, where I previously scored 42 on the first attempt, I had 48 over 50. 48 out of 50, yes. Then for the hazard perception, the pass mark is 44. The first time I had 67, but this time around I had 51. I don't know why. I think I was tensed and all of that, but I had 51. And the areas that I failed, okay, so for the multi-choice, I failed one question in safety and your vehicle/motorcycle. Then I also failed one question in rules of the road. So that's it. So some of the questions came from road signs. You have to know your road signs, like what each road signs represent. You have to know, I saw questions on national speed limits, right? I saw questions on documents. So there are questions on document, like when are you supposed to renew your MOT? You get? That's like a year. Every year you're supposed to renew your MOT. Then you also see questions like, I'm not going to like say it. I'll just paraphrase the question. A question like, for a new car, how many years is it supposed to take before you do your MOT? Something like that. So by the time you see a new car, that is 3 years, right? So you are going to do your first MOT after 3 years of, getting a new car. You get? So then the other question on the same MOT, like, when are you supposed to renew your MOT? Every year. You get? So those kind of questions also, they can also be confusing. So you have to take note of what they're talking about. You get? They're talking about new car in this, and they're talking about yearly. So for those new cars, for instance, after renewing your MOT, after doing your MOT 3 years later, after getting your new car, it's not going to be like, you're not going to be renewing it after that 3 years. It's not going to be a yearly, it's not going to be on a yearly basics, right? So you're going to be renewing your license on a yearly basics after that 3 years. That's for a new car. Then for old cars, it's going to be every year. You get, so there's some questions that are also, you know, kind of confusing. Like for instance, on a dual carriage lane, when you are towing a car on a dual carriage lane, how many miles per hour are you supposed to drive? There you see something like 60, 70, you get. So as long as you are towing a van and you're a dual carriage lane, the national speed limit for you is 60 miles per hour. Then if you're on a single carriage lane, it's 50. You get, so you have to learn all of this stuff. Yet on that same dual carriage lane, if you are not towing any car at all, it's 70 miles per hour. And on that same single carriage lane, if you are not towing any car, it's 60 miles per hour. So you have to understand all of this. You have to understand the questions you get. And like I said, road signs, a lot of questions come out on road signs. A lot of questions come out on documents. You have to understand each and every one of those stuff. You get questions like, if someone is teaching you how to drive, now how old should the person be? 21 years. How many years should the person have been driving with his driver's license? That's 3 years. You get, so there are a lot of questions. So you have to understand the hazard to expect. You have to understand each and every one of them. And the hazard, it's about 14 clips. Yes, you're going to get 14 clips, not about 14 clips. And 13 of the clips is one hazard each. Then one of the click, we have 2 hazard. So imagine you get 0 in a click that has 2 hazard. That's 10 marks lost or something like that. Yeah, so that's not funny at all. For the hazard test, we're taught to use the 3-click method. You get, when you feel like you are approaching an hazard, you click. When you're actually seeing yourself like entering the hazard or something like that, you click. Then you click one more time, you get. But that was not what I did in the exam. Once I just noticed that, I'll just click, but I tried not to click too much, so it doesn't, because by the time you click too much during the hazard test, you end up scoring 0. The computer will tell you, it's like a fraudulent activity, right? It's as if you're trying to, you know, trick the computer. So the computer will alert you that you've scored 0 on this aspect. So me, I didn't do that. I did not abuse it that much. I did not abuse it at all. So what I was just doing was that when I just there's some hazard, I'll just look around. I was actually scanning, like if you see me doing the tests, and by the time I see a particular form of maybe developing hazard, I just know that, oh, this will not amount to this will not lead to anything, you get, because I'm looking around, I'm not seeing anything. But you see those ones that are already looking like a real potential hazard, I just click, and by the time we are pushing it, I just click like 4 times or 5 times. Like, trust me, I really did not follow that 3-click method or something. But I would advise you should know what works for you. You should understand how the hazard perception test work, and you should know what works for you. So just try. Like I said, that app helped me in practicing the hazard perception very well. So if you download the app, you are not just reading the hazard perception, you're actually practicing it. And if you make such mistakes on the app will also tell you, oh, you've pressed too much, so you've scored 0 and all of that. So with that app, you'll be able to learn how to actually target a potential hazard. You will learn all of those stuff. And like I said, it was a winter bond that made me understand how hazard works, you get. So even with the way she teaches you, even with the way she explained it, I understood, okay, if I see a video of maybe people driving at night, the kind of hazard I should be expecting is maybe someone entering your front and driving, maneuvering into your front, or you get all of those things. So also during winter, if you see a video clip of someone driving during winter, the kind of hazard you should be expecting, maybe something running into the road, and you get all of those stuff. So with her, through her teaching, I got to understand the kind of hazard I should watch out for in different scenarios, in different road. You get, for instance, if you are driving in a one-way street, or you are driving in a quiet road and you are seeing cars parked around, you should be expecting maybe someone to just open the door, or someone to just, maybe something to just run into the road. You know, there are a lot of things you should expect in different scenarios, in different types of road. You get, so I got to learn all of those stuff from Annie. Yes, and you know, that three in three click something, I did not follow it. I was just losing my mind, so I will not tell you what I did not do, right? Yes, I did not follow that 3-point click, or 3-point click, or something like that. I really didn't do that. I just used my mind. Like, for instance, if I see a car passing, I would know, okay, this one will not cause a hazard. Of course, this is a developing hazard, but it won't lead to anything, and really it doesn't, you get. So I would just watch out for the ones that look really suspicious, and that was what helped me. But please, you don't have to follow that method. Like I said, my first test, I got 67 in hazard perception, but the second test I had 51. So obviously my method was not good enough. So don't follow that method. And I also recommend this 4-in-1 app. Like, it's comprised of everything. You see, you get to do your quiz, you get to do a mock test, you get to, you know, practice your hazard test. Like, you get the app is just, you know, perfect and all of that. So I would advise you should consider using that. And even the mindset, right? That first time, like I said, I was overconfident, even though I was not really prepared, because I had not actually read, rather I had crammed, right? So this second time, while I was tensed and all of that, you know, everybody was telling me, don't worry, you will pass, don't worry. Most people fail on their first attempt and all of that. So I felt all of those things motivated me. Then, you know, when I was reading, I was seeing people that would say, oh, that, you know, I was seeing people that said, oh, I just passed my test on my first attempt. You know, all of those things motivated me that, okay, this second time I have to go in with a, you know, clear mind. Even though I was nervous, because, you know, because of the fact that I've done it before, and you get, but I was still really, in my heart, I was still like, you know, positive that, okay, I might pass it. So that I was tensed, but I was positive in my mind. I had this positive mindset that I was going to pass, and really I did. And I remember when the man handed me the results, I was smiling. Like, if not because he was at the other side of the table, I probably would have given him a hug, like, oh, finally, because I felt like it was holding me down. I needed to move on to the next one. So not getting that result when I needed it that first time, I felt it caused some kind of delay, because I had other things to do. So that was like holding me down. I was not moving forward with it. So when I eventually passed it, I was happy. I moved on to something else, you get. So I can confidently say I have passed. So right now I'm preparing for my practical. Yes, because after this step, the next step is the practical. So that's what I'm preparing for, and I need to put in all my effort into it, because I don't plan on coming back to do that again. Because usually, even to get a date to, you know, take your practical test is close to impossible. Like, you can get a date for June next year. No, not June next year, like January, like June 2025, maybe August 2025. You know, there's not really much date, because a lot of persons are, you know, booking for their test and all of that. So I can't afford to, you know, fail that test. But this is it. So I would say what actually made me pass, I started reading to understand. Read to understand, don't cram, don't be in a rush. Trust me, you can even do this in 2 weeks and you pass the test. You know, I'll see some person saying you can read in 1 hour and pass. Trust me, unless you don't mind failing. While it might work for some persons, it might not work for others. So it's just like an exam. You prepare for an exam. You don't start going to an exam all 1 hour. You don't start preparing for an exam rather 1 hour before it. So give it adequate time, at least 2 weeks. If you can revise, even if it's 2 hours every evening, you know, when you're relaxed, or every night, you would pass. So don't put your hope on, oh, I'll read just 2 hours and I'll pass. I'll read just, you get, some people learn things faster, some people don't. Like me, I have to take my time to read. Yes. so So my final tips for success for those that want to take their driving theory test is start on time. Please don't cram. Start on time. Start reading early. The earlier you start reading, the earlier you start studying, the earlier you would, read, assimilate a lot and pass in your first trial. Yes, so start reading on time. Don't cram, please, because the question they might just twist the question in another way, and that will destabilize you. So don't cram. Read to understand, because at the end of the day, these are things you are going to come across on the road when you start driving. So just read to understand. Then my second tip for success will be use the right app. Right, so like me, I said I used the 4-in-1 app. I also used Annie Winterball and Dorian. There are other tutors. You don't have to use the both of them. I'm just saying they were good. I learned a lot from them. That's why I am recommending them. But there are a lot. So aside your using the app, still learn from people that have made videos on it. It will make it easier, and also it will make you inspired by the time you start learning from all of those creators that are specialized on all of these driving questions, theory, tutors, whatever. You get inspired, and when you see comments of people saying, "Oh, I passed in my first attempt, I thank you very much," thanking all of those tutors, I feel it will kind of motivate you and make you know that, oh, if these people can do it, why not I can do it. You see some person say, "Oh, I passed after using your app. I passed after watching your videos, rather. I passed after watching your videos. Oh, thank you." When you say all of those things, it will motivate you, and trust me, that motivation is what you need majorly. When you are motivated, trust me, you pass. I can assure you. So basically that's my story on how I passed my test, and I'm so happy. Thank you for watching till the end. If you have any questions, I can answer, but I'll put the links of all of the stuff I used in the description box, so you can always have access to them. So thank you so much. Thanks for watching, and have a beautiful day. Bye bye for now.